Good morning everyone. My name is Miss Nell, and today I'm going to show you how to do some arts and crafts with egg cartons. So I've made 3 different animals that you can see here. I made a penguin, I made a little chick, and I made a baby turtle. So I'm going to show you how to make those using an egg carton. So you will need an egg carton, the bottom where you would put the eggs. And you'll be using 2 parts. One part will be this bottom base where the egg sits, and the second part will be this kind of peak that keeps the eggs apart. So for the chick and the turtle, you'll use this bottom base, and then for the penguin, it's the top peak. Okay? For the activity, you will also need a pair of scissors in order to cut the egg cartons. You'll need some glue. You will need a piece of paper, and then you'll need something to draw or color with. So think markers, paint, crayons, colored pencils, any of them will work. So for the first thing, let's start with the chick. The chick uses 2 of the bases and you're gluing them together. I've already glued this one and it's shut, but this is an example. I cut the base of 2 of the egg cartons and then I'll stick them together and glue them together. And you can see that it started to form the chick. So I will color it and then do some of the details for the beak and the eyes and the feather. But I first need to start with the 2 bases. So you will take scissors and you will cut along the base of the egg carton, trying to make sure that you keep some of this shape. Now you can tell sometimes it's easier to cut and you end up with a big chick, and sometimes you have to do a lot of shaping and it gets a little bit smaller. So you want to make sure that the top and the bottom are of similar shape and you can stick them together. Okay. So the first chick I did was orange. This time around I'm going to use a kind of more magenta fuchsia color. And you're just going to literally color all the way around both the top and the bottom of the egg carton. Okay. So why don't we both do that, and then we'll meet back here when this is colored. Alright, so I am almost done. I don't know about you all. I'm just kind of on this last little bit. Now if you've done paint, for the next step you're going to wait for it to dry. And you can actually use the paint as a glue to stick the 2 pieces together. If you used a marker like I did, or a pencil, colored pencil, or a crayon, then you'll also be using glue. And I would recommend you kind of figure out which you want to be the top and which you want to be the bottom before you glue. I like that my egg carton kind of already has this little bump that looks kind of like the beginning of a beak, so I'm going to have that be the front of mine. Now you can tell it doesn't fit perfectly, but it fits pretty well. And then I'm just going to take glue, and on the base I'm going to glue all along the edge. Just making sure that the top will stick and that my bird won't fall apart. So, got the glue all around the edge, if you can see that. And then I will find where the front is and I will connect the 2 pieces together to like kind of push it in and figure out just how to make it fit. And I'm gonna kind of, any excess glue, just rub in lightly to make sure that the gaps are all closed. Okay, so while we wait for that to dry, we'll move on to the next part of the chick, which is making a little feather for the hat and then the beak. So the way that I did this is that I first drew the beak and the feather on a white sheet of paper, and then I cut them out. You may find it easier to cut it and then color it, but for my sake, I am going to color it and then cut it. So I chose to do a different color than the purple that I had used for the actual bird. So I'm going to use a darker color. You can use whatever color you want. So for the beak, you need to make a little triangle on the paper and then color it in. So it's not super big because your chick's not very big either, right? So that'll be the beak. And then you'll want to do the same thing with a feather. And the nice thing about this is that if you don't like what you've done, you can always redo it, right? So there's my feather and I'm going to color it in. So pick whatever color you want and go ahead and draw the beak and the feather. And I'm going to cut mine out. I actually find it easier to cut the little square out and then trim it instead of fighting with the holding paper. So I cut mine smaller and then I cut out the elements that I need. So, shaping up the beak over here. And this may take some practice. I mean, mine aren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I kind of feel like I'm on Nailed It, and you see lots of very pretty examples on the internet, and I'm still learning how to do it. So it's all right if yours doesn't come out exactly the way you want it. And there's lots of different animals you can make too. I saw some ladybugs and flowers and lots of cool things that you can make. So I have cut out my feather. You can see it's very small, kind of blends in with the background, doesn't it? And then the itsy bitsy beak. So I'm going to start with the beak just because I think that's easier. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back side that I didn't color. And I want the smallest point to be facing down. So I'll find my little bird, which is still in the process of drying, and then I'll figure out where exactly it is that I want to place it. If you have little pieces of egg carton coming off, you can just pull them off. That's what I just did. I'm like, okay, I think I want the beak to go, I don't know, probably in the top third of his face. So if you can see, I have the little beak for my bird. And then we'll do the feather. So I found it was easiest to pin the feather on if you folded the base just a little bit. So I kind of fold a tiny little bit of the base, if you can see what I've done. And then I glue it, so that way I'm not trying to glue something that's perfectly straight. Just try and fold it a little bit. And then I'm going to glue that on top of my bird, facing the same way that the beak is. Otherwise you would have no color. So you can see that I've done the feather that I've glued on, and then the beak. And the last step is the eyes. So I'm going to use black for the eyes. You can use a different color if you want. And then just holding it, you're going to draw 2 circles right above the beak for the eyes. So this one is obviously bigger than its friend, but we now have 2 little egg carton birdies. Okay. The second I'm going to show you how to make is a penguin. And this one you're going to use the peak of the egg carton. So for the last one, for the chick, we used just this part, right? And this time we're going to use the pointy part of the egg carton. So you just cut around. I found it easiest if you cut these 4 little corners that are surrounding a peak, and then you can pull that part out. Okay? So for the penguin, you're going to need whatever color marker you want. I'm going to be traditional and make a black and white penguin, but you can do a different color if you want a different colored penguin. And you are going to draw a little circle around one of the faces of the peak, and then color the other 3 sides and the top black. So I have here a peak that I've already cut. It's blank, right? So I'm going to choose which side I want to be the front. This side looks pretty good. And so I will draw a little circle around the outside, knowing that that part is going to be the face. And it's not perfect because we're actually going to cut out paper to make the face, but it's just reminding me that that part I need to leave blank. So now with your marker, you're going to color the top and then the other 3 sides that are going to serve as the body. Okay? So just go at it. Sometimes this bit's a little bit hard because you want to try and get in all the little nooks and crannies of the egg carton. But sometimes instead of scratching, I find it easier just to dot. If you are in a particular rough section, just pushing the marker into those spaces and making sure that it covers all of them. So you're going to keep doing this until you have all of your sides covered. Okay? all of this talk of birds has brought my cat over. If you can see, this is Leo. He is 2.5, and I got him when I was living in Costa Rica. So he's come a very long way to be living here in Colorado with us. So I'm just now finishing the black of my penguin. Tap my marker when I'm done. So I have left a little space for the face, and then I've colored the 3 sides and the top black. So this one, you have a couple options about how you want to cut your paper. You could stick this piece on, trace it, and then cut it out, or you can just eyeball it. I'm gonna wing it and see what happens. I'm gonna have to trim it down a little bit. So I'll cut out a larger piece that I know I'm gonna need. Obviously that's a lot larger than the penguin's face, right? But I'll just trim it down and see what all I need to do to get it to be the right size. If you're like me, you're gonna end up with markers all over your hands. So if you're leaving marks on your penguin, you're more than welcome to wash your hands. We'll just trim out the little penguin's chest. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just want to make sure that it fits well with that kind of face, right? Let's see if I'm near yet. Okay, that's pretty good, right? So I will take this little white front that I've cut out, put some glue on the back, and then stick it onto my penguin. This guy's almost done. We're just missing his eyes, his beak, and his feet. So, again, you are going to want to draw a beak. I'm going to use yellow. And you're going to draw that little triangle we did last time for his beak. So you have the little beak there. And then for his feet, you'll draw 2 little, I don't know if you call them semicircles. They're a little more feet-like than that, but that's the general shape. So kind of a flat top and then a swooped bottom. You'll fill those in. And then we'll just cut them out and glue them. So, here we go. And this activity, I think would be really great to do when it's kind of snowing and gross outside. I know we're supposed to get at least rain later this week. So if you're at home and you can't go outside and you're feeling bored, this is a great way to keep yourself entertained. So I cut my beak out, and now I'm just going to cut out these little feet. There is 1 foot, save that, and then I'll cut out the last little foot. Okay, so I'm going to start with the beak. Gives me an idea of where the eyes will go. So I'll put glue on the uncolored side of the beak. And same thing as last time, you want the beak to be this way, where the largest, flattest top is up here, and then the base of the beak is the point. So you'll kind of figure out where you want to go. I think I want mine to be somewhere, I don't know, pretty high up, because I want him to have a big stomach. Show that he's a nice emperor penguin. So I'll glue the beak on. And then for the feet, I found it easier if you glue it in between the white paper and the egg carton. If you glue it on the bottom, it can fall off. So you'll want to gently lift this white paper and then stick the feet underneath. So see how I've lifted that little white paper and stuck the foot underneath? Then I'll push the white paper back down. There's one foot, and now I will do the other foot. I think the cat is hunting for birds outside. You can see he's staring off hungrily. He's an inside cat now, but he used to like to hunt when he lived outside. So now I've got two little feet and the beak, and all that's left is the eyes. So I'll get my black marker again, and then do two eyes just above where the beak is. And there you have your second creature. You have your penguin. So you can see you have two cute little penguins. All right, the last one that we're going to look at is the turtle. So I've actually not glued the legs on, simply because I think it's easier just to have the legs on the table and then put the turtle on top. It still makes it look like it has legs, but you don't have to worry about the gluing. So for the turtle, you're going to use a base. So where you would put the egg if it were in the fridge. And then the top of one of the peaks. So you can use to make the head. So I used two different colors to make this. I used a darker green and a light green because turtles typically tend to have not kind of one monochrome single colored shell, but they tend to have multiple colors. So you will start with a base that you've cut out and made flat so it could just rest. And how I did it is I started with the dark spots. So I just decided I would, make a dark spot about here. I made a circle and then I'll color it in. And that way I don't have to worry about, did I forget spots? Oh no, I overdrew on my lines. I got dark spots where I didn't want them. It's easier to start with a darker color and then color the remaining places light. So it doesn't have to be perfect wherever you want to place it. Just color your circle in. Maybe I'll do a half circle like right about here, right? So I have full circles all over and then some half circles towards the bottom. You can make this all one color if you want. You can make it a rainbow turtle. You can give them stripes. The nice thing about this activity is that it's really whatever colors you want and whatever design that you want. And maybe I will make one more here at the top. So now that I have all of my little polka dots, I'll take the lighter color, in my case, maybe you chose a different color, maybe you wanted to flip it and have light spots and a dark shell. And I'll just color the remaining parts of this turtle base.